Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out of Chess channel and welcome to another brilliant and spectacular gameplay by the two most powerful chess engines in the world by Stockfish 17 and the Leela LCZero. The game that I'll show you today is a beautiful Richter-Rauzer attack game that was actually suggested by many viewers. This game that I'll show you is actually from the TCEC Season 27 viewer bonus event. The viewer bonus event is an event where the Leela and LCZero and Stockfish are playing a match of pre-ranged openings by not the organizer, by the viewers, which is really, I think, a great event. We have even seen Evans Gambit games, we have seen Queen's Gambit decline, the common Rui Lopez, which of course ended with the draw. Here we'll see really beautiful spectacular Richter-Rauzer attack in which really a crazy tactical sequence happened. I'm not sure what happened here. I always thought that some of these engines could not get trapped, but actually here Leela LCZero I think got a little bit trapped by Stockfish. So put your seatbelts on and enjoy again in a crazy game played by the two most powerful chess engines in the world. So let's see now what happened with white. The fish opened with the move e4. Leela's response was c5, the Sicilian. Now we have the open here Sicilian with d4, c takes d4, knight to d4, knight to f6, knight to c3, knight to c6, leads now into the classical variation. We have now the move bishop to g5, which becomes now the so-called Richter-Rauzer variation or the Richter-Rauzer attack. The idea is clear, we have mentioned many times. With bishop to f6, we're trying of course to create maybe some weaknesses here in black's camp. We want of course to double up the pawn structure on the f file. e6, queen to d2, Stockfish plays in this fast development style, wants of course to secure the king by castling. a6, so we have now the neo-modern defense, and now after move queenside castling, bishop to e7, Stockfish grabs immediately here the knight and forces now immediately a reaction by Leela LCZero, because the mistake I think would have been here to take with bishop to f6. Of course Leela LCZero didn't play it, but I wanted to show what's the actual issue if you may be studying this Richter-Rauzer attack from white's or from black's perspective. Then knight to c6 would happen, and then you can pick up this pawn after a couple of trades with queens. Okay, maybe black can mess up also a little bit here white's pawn structure by playing bishop to c3, but then actually with c4 and e5 here white is continuing the game with an extra pawn. Of course it's not the optimal situation, it's a double pawn here, but after rook to d8, rook to b6 can be played, and I think white would have a comfortable game. We can of course support here the pawn, then play freely with the bishop, maybe even play here a4, a5, and I think it's a comfortable game. For my engine at home evaluates this position as +2 in white favor. So this is not working. So that's why here in the beginning, black is pretty much forced to play g takes f6. And okay, why should white give up now the bishop for a knight? Actually, as we mentioned, at least you have created some weaknesses here. This is now a double pawn structure. Black is continuing the game, of course, with the bishop pair, but it's not the optimal bishop pair. We have to say the bishop here of black, so the Darsko bishop is blocked by its own pawn structure, and also this bishop has to first of all search for better activity. So I would say here slightly edge in white's favor. f4 by Stockfish, knight takes d4, queen to d4, queen to a5, bishop to e2, bishop to d7, and now bishop to f3. Good move here by Stockfish again. The clear, I would say, progressive idea for white would be the move e5, somehow of course liberate this bishop and targeting maybe here the b7 weakness. We have now the move h5 by Leela LCZero, h4 by the fish, and now, believe me or not, comes already the critical moment of the game. Here I was very surprised that Leela LCZero makes immediately a blunder here. If I would have played against this blunder against Leela LCZero, maybe I would not notice the actual issues, but of course Stockfish is a different beast. Stockfish notices that the queenside castling here that Leela LCZero played is immediately causing many tactical but also positional problems in black's camp. So Leela played queenside castling. Let's see first of all better options what Leela LCZero should have played. One of the good plans is here to immediately go with queen to c5. I think it's a decent idea because no way that white is going to take with the bishop pair now, and when the queens are off the board, I think this should be a comfortable game for black. White's knight doesn't have good squares to occupy, would still search for improvement, and maybe after queen to d2, for instance, white doesn't want to trade off the queens, then you can play queenside castling. But what the issue is, And that's the most important problem here. You should not tolerate this centralized queen by white here. That's why queen to c5 was much better. For instance, bishop to f5 could have been also played. Pardon me, bishop to c6 could have been also played, but then you would probably face f5. But then again, you tried queen to c5, after maybe queen to d3. Again, now you can play queenside castling. It's a huge difference when the queen is centralized and when the queen is not centralized, and then when we should go with queenside castling. Again, in this position, even in this position, maybe white is slightly better, but it's not such a complicated game now for black. But queenside castling early leads now into complication, because Stockfish realized now a beautiful idea with rook to d3. And let's see now, for instance, if you play now queen to c5. Queen to c5 now is not working. This wasn't playing the game, but I wanted to show really the issue here. If queen to c5 you play now, then you get this stunning move, knight to d5. And then, for instance, e takes d5, rook to c3 wins the game. So you see, the issue of queenside castling is that the queen is now lined up like the queen here on the c file. For instance, you could maybe try queen takes d4. You don't want to pick up the knight here, but knight takes e7 comes with a check. First of all, you have to step back with the king, and now rook to d4 wins the piece and obviously wins the game. You could maybe chase a little bit here, the knight with rook to e8, but then e5. You cannot pick it up. Then, of course, e takes d6 is a fork against the king and the rook. For instance, you can maybe try f takes e5, f takes e5, then maybe to play this one, but then rook to c4, and then rook to b4 is a much better continuation. If you pick up, of course, this one, then rook to b7 leads into nasty tactics. If you, for instance, try here after this b5, then knight to c6 brings again the knight back into the game, and obviously it's game over here for black. So let's see different options. Instead of here the move queen to d4 that we have the the queen to c5 move that we have discussed previously, that could have worked. Maybe bishop to c6 could have been played here by LCZero, but then again a stunning knight to d5 is working here. Then e takes d5, e takes d5. You're trying to step back with the bishop, then the queen gets attacked, and you see you don't have so many good squares now. The king is cornered, rook to c3 is going to happen. So that was really huge now tactical problem for Leela, early queenside castling. Let's see different options. For instance, queen to c7 you play, then rook from h to d1, and then again I think white is a comfortable game here on the d file, and black is facing it again many positional problems. So see, very nasty position already after move queenside castling here by Leela. Stockfish continues now with rook to d3. Leela is trying now to get out of this potential mess that we saw on the c file, but now comes another stunner here by Stockfish. Stockfish plays now the move b4. What should you do? If you try here queen to a3, then king to b1 gets simply out of the attack, e5, then the issue is the queen is coming very active into the game, and then knight to d5. Look at this, the queen has to again step back, rook to b3, you're trying to escape, queen to e3, this bishop is hanging, bishop to d8, and then f5. When it comes now from a positional point of view, I would say here black is simply cramped, black is somehow paralyzed, neutralized. Look at this, both of this bishop here by black, very bad. This bishop is blocked by its own pawn structure. Again, the centralized knight is here something that bothers now black in the continuation of the game, and white can continue then afterwards maybe with ideas like rook to c1, c4, maybe in some lines rook to a3 could even trap the queen. So I see again much better position, I would dare to say, when it comes to AI chess. This completely winning here for white. So see, b4 causes now again a reaction for black. Black has to now step back, but now comes another beautiful move, knight to d5. This was the whole theme, the whole subject, the whole picture that we imagined now also previously. Knight to d5 is devastating because after e takes d5, rook to c3, the queen gets actually trapped. You could maybe try bishop to c6 here, but then e takes d5, you try maybe f5, and now the position is getting destroyed here on the queen side. Rook to d1 b1. You're trying maybe to take, but then look at this rook to b3 is going to happen. So really, really nasty move. This move, knight to d5, e takes d5, rook to c3, and now Leela C0 decided to give up the queen here instead of, I don't know, covering with the light square bishop. Stockfish took now, and after rook takes c7, really impressive tactical sequence here that Stockfish saw. We have reached now this position in which, okay, Leela has, I would say, in some games it would be decent compensation having a rook and a bishop against the queen, but again I want to point you out, this bishop's activity of blacks is not the optimal bishop's activity. It's not really such an open game. This bishop especially blocked still by its own pawn structure, so really a much better position now for the fish. Stockfish continues with c3, Leela takes, Stockfish takes, Leela tries to attack, and now Leela's traded off now for the first bishops of the board. And here still the bishop is bad. Okay, as I said, you have a rook and a bishop, but I'm not seeing here really good plans for black. Leela is trying to do this, which makes sense, of course, going for the c3 pawn. Stockfish escapes, brings now also a new defender into the game. Bishop to h4, king to b3, and although Leela grabbed even the h4 pawn, still it's sort of a 3 versus 2 here on this side of the board, but these are double pawns, so not really something that bothers Stockfish in the continuation of the game. Bishop to f6, queen to d3, Stockfish grabs now another pawn, rook to e6, Stockfish goes now for the f5 pawn, Leela has to cover, rook to c2, and now you could maybe try here, rook takes f4, but then queen to d6 is very dangerous. You would be forced to play something like bishop to g5, and then rook to e2 is, I think, even game over simply here for white. So that's why for rook to c2, h4 by Leela, Stockfish continues now simply to push the pawns here, has now here an amazing 3 versus 2 pawn majority on the queen side. Rook to c6, c5, we have now rook takes f4, rook to e2, rook to a7, a3, rook to g4, and now Stockfish grabs simply another pawn. Rook to g5, rook to f4, rook to g3, Stockfish escapes, rook to d3, and now queen to f5, simply attacking again here this bishop and hoping to get this plan, a4, b5. This is now the main theme here. This is now the most important idea, how to break here black's defense. Rook to g3, we have now a4, rook to g5, queen to f4, bishop to d8, queen to d2, bishop to f6, and now b5. A takes b5, a takes b5, Leela has to now take, and Stockfish simply brings now the queen into the attack, and the position is really now collapsing. We have now queen to b6. There's not so much that can be done. Rook to b5, for instance, is not working because you're running into a checkmate. Even if you try, I don't know, rook to c8, then the queen is coming, then look at this one is coming, and then we can pick up the piece. It's also not working, so this is too much pressure here to handle for black. After queen to b6, that's why rook to e5, Stockfish attacks now the king, simply traded off here the rooks. You have to, of course, take now with the bishop because the bishop is hanging. After bishop to e5, now comes b6, and now a new check. You cannot pick up the pawn because of here queen to e3. Again, a stunning tactical sequence here by the fish, and obviously after queen takes g5, it's simply game over for Leela. So Leela is trying to, of course, to battle, but now after queen to g1 in this particular position, Leela resigns. So great Richter-Rauzer attack. We have seen a beautiful theme, this knight to d5 hop, just in order to open files, open diagonals in front of black's king. Beautiful sacrifice, which caused now many tactical damage in black's camp. Leela fought somehow with a rook and a bishop, but the position was not optimal, as we said, for the bishop pair. Stunning, beautiful attacking game, again, by the most powerful engine in the world, by Stockfish 17. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. The interesting ideas of the Richter-Rauzer attack here by Stockfish 17. If you want to see some other thematic, spectacular, sharp attacking games like this, check out our Come to Chess Games Play by Computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.